Have you ever wondered why Catholics pray to Mary and the saints? It's a question that has intrigued many, both within and outside the Catholic faith. The answer to this intriguing query is not a simple one, but rather a blend of historical and theological perspectives. It's a practice deeply rooted in tradition, faith, and an understanding of the communion of saints. So why do Catholics engage in this practice? Stay tuned as we delve into the reasons behind this Catholic practice. Before we delve into the historical context, let's look at the theological perspective. Understanding the reason why Catholics pray to Mary and the saints requires a grasp of a key concept in Catholicism: intercession. Intercession, in its simplest terms, is the act of intervening on behalf of another. In the Catholic faith, intercession takes on a spiritual dimension. It's not just about intervening in earthly matters, it's about reaching out to the divine on behalf of someone else. It's like having a friend in high places, a friend who can put in a good word for you with the boss. Now, who better to have in your corner than those who are closest to God? This is where Mary and the saints come in. They are seen as individuals who, because of their extraordinary lives of virtue, are close to God in heaven. Catholics believe that they can ask Mary and the saints to intercede for them, to pray to God on their behalf. It's not about worshiping Mary or the saints. It's about asking for their help, their prayers. But where's the biblical support for this? Well, let's turn to the book of Revelation, chapter 5, verse 8. Here we find the 24 elders, who are often interpreted as the saints, offering up the prayers of the faithful to God. This is a clear example of intercession. In another passage from the Gospel of Luke, chapter 1, verse 48, Mary herself says that all generations will call me blessed. Catholics interpret this as an invitation to seek Mary's intercession. And then there's the famous wedding at Cana in John's Gospel, chapter 2. Here, Mary intercedes with Jesus on behalf of the wedding couple who have run out of wine. Jesus responds to Mary's intercession by performing his first public miracle, turning water into wine. These biblical passages, along with others, form the basis for the Catholic belief in the intercession of Mary and the saints. They are seen as powerful allies in our spiritual journey, individuals who can help us draw closer to God through their prayers. But let's be clear, intercession is not about bypassing Jesus. Far from it. Jesus remains the one mediator between God and humanity, as stated in the first letter to Timothy, chapter 2, verse 5. Intercession is about asking for help, for prayers. It's about recognizing that we're part of a larger spiritual family, a family that includes Mary, the mother of Jesus, and the saints, those extraordinary men and women who have shown us how to live lives of faith, hope, and love. So, from a theological perspective, asking for Mary and the saints' intercession is akin to asking for their prayers. Now that we've covered the theological perspective, let's move on to the historical aspect. Delving into the annals of history, the practice of praying to Mary and the saints is not a recent phenomenon. It's a tradition that has stood the test of time, evolving and weaving itself into the fabric of Catholic culture over centuries. Trace back to the early days of Christianity, around the 2nd and 3rd centuries. It was a time when Christians were persecuted, living in fear and uncertainty. During these trying times, they found solace in praying to Mary and the saints, believing that these holy figures could intercede on their behalf before God. This practice, known as intercession, became a beacon of hope for the early Christians, a spiritual lifeline. Fast forward to the Middle Ages, a pivotal era in the evolution of this tradition. It was during this period that the veneration of Mary and the saints became more prevalent, largely due to the influence of key figures like Saint Bernard of Clairvaux and Saint Francis of Assisi. Their teachings emphasized the importance of Mary and the saints as intermediaries, further cementing this practice in the hearts and minds of the faithful. As we journey further into history, we reach the Council of Trent in the 16th century. This was a significant turning point, as it officially endorsed the practice of praying to Mary and the saints. It reaffirmed the belief in their intercessory power, stating that they plead for us as our friends and family in heaven. Moving into the modern era, this tradition has not only persisted, but has also flourished. Today, you'll find numerous feasts, prayers, and devotions dedicated to Mary and various saints, each with its unique symbolism and significance. These practices serve to keep the connection between the faithful and these holy figures alive and vibrant. The practice of praying to Mary and the saints has become more than just a tradition. It has become a way for Catholics to express their faith, to seek comfort and guidance, and to feel a sense of kinship with these holy figures. It's a practice that transcends geographical boundaries and cultural differences, uniting Catholics worldwide. Moreover, it's important to note that this practice is not about worshiping Mary or the saints, but about honoring them, seeking their intercession, and striving to emulate their virtues. It's about recognizing their role as friends and helpers in our spiritual journey, guiding us towards a closer relationship with God. So you see, the tradition of praying to Mary and the saints is deeply rooted in history. It's a practice that has evolved, adapted, and endured through centuries, shaped by key events and figures. It's become an integral part of the Catholic faith, a testament to the enduring power of prayer and intercession. Historically, praying to Mary and the saints has been a way for Catholics to feel more connected to their faith and their community. Despite these reasons, there are some common misconceptions about this practice. One such misconception is the idea that Catholics are praying to Mary and the saints instead of God. This is not the case. When Catholics pray to Mary or the saints, they are not bypassing God. Instead, they are asking Mary and the saints to intercede on their behalf, to pray for them to God. It's akin to asking a parent or a priest to pray for you, just on a grander heavenly scale. Another common misconception is that Catholics worship Mary and the saints. This couldn't be further from the truth. Worship in the Catholic faith is due to God alone. Catholics revere Mary and the saints. They honor them, but they don't worship them. Reverence is not the same as worship. It's a distinction that's often misunderstood. The veneration of Mary and the saints is a way of acknowledging their special place in the Christian story and their ongoing role in the spiritual life of the Church. It's a recognition of their holiness, their closeness to God, and their ability to intercede on our behalf. But it's not worship. Worship is reserved for God alone. It's also important to understand that while Mary and the saints hold a special place in the Catholic faith, God remains the ultimate focus of worship. The Mass, the central act of Catholic worship, is entirely centered on God. It's about the sacrifice of Jesus, the gift of the Eucharist, and the grace that flows from these sacred mysteries. It's a celebration of the love and mercy of God, not a celebration of Mary or the saints. So when Catholics pray to Mary and the saints, they're not sidelining God. They're not worshiping mere mortals. They're participating in a rich tradition of faith that sees the communion of saints as a spiritual family, praying for each other, supporting each other, all directed towards the love and worship of God. Understanding these misconceptions can help us appreciate the depth and complexity of the Catholic faith. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We dove deep into the theological perspective, understanding the Catholic rationale behind praying to Mary and the saints. It's not about worship, but about asking for intercession, much like asking a friend to pray for you. It's a practice deeply rooted in the belief of the communion of saints, where we all, both in heaven and on earth, are united in Christ. We also journeyed back in time, exploring the historical perspective of this practice. We learned that from the earliest days of Christianity, believers have sought the intercession of Mary and the saints. It's a tradition that has been passed down through generations, an integral part of the rich tapestry of Catholic faith and practice. We then addressed some common misconceptions, the most prevalent one being that Catholics worship Mary and the saints, which is not the case. The distinction between veneration and worship is crucial. Catholics venerate Mary and the saints, respecting them for their virtues and holiness, but worship is reserved for God alone. So from theological and historical standpoints to debunking misconceptions, we've covered quite a bit of ground today. Remember, it's not about idolatry, but about a community of believers seeking intercession, united in faith and love. Next time you come across this practice, you'll now understand the rich history and faith that underpin it. Thank you for watching.